So I made a video about my thoughts on Anthony Davis, and basically, if the trade was low value and you were able to move off of some longer term contracts to get him, and it didn't cost you draft capital or like a Comrie Boyles or any like high leveraged young player, then maybe. My problem is that with his health stuff and the physical decline stuff, he lowers your floor. He might kind of raise your ceiling, although I don't love with what he does and Scotty Barnes together. I think it puts Scotty Barnes in a disadvantageous position. But the idea of trading multiple assets to get Sabonis to me is bewildering. He cannot play in our defensive scheme at all. We'd literally have to change our entire defensive scheme, and that's a problem. That's a problem. And if the deal was, Pirtle and, a whatever piece and like a heavily protected pick or something, then maybe, he raises your floor, but I think he hurts your ceiling overall. The contract I don't love. Offensively, he improves some things. He's an excellent connective passer. He's a really good screen setter, so he does a lot of those things that Pirtle does. Great connective passer from the elbows. I think some people who watch box scores in fantasy sports sometimes get the idea of his assists confused. I hear a lot of like, oh, he's kind of like Jokic with the passing. It's not high level passing reads. He's an elite screener who's elite in DHO, so his dribble handoff game is special, but it's not elite passing skills. It's elite at what he does and making correct reads in terms of connective passing and screen setting and everything else. He can find guys off the rolls and backside actions, but it's not Jokic like at all. We need to stop saying that, right? Not every assist is created equally. And then, like I said, the defense side is a real problem. On offense, if you could convince him he needs to up the 3 point volume to offer some spacing, because I think he is capable of it, that would be helpful. The defensive rebounding obviously is excellent. Like, he's an elite defensive rebounder, which would help. But you would need Scotty Barnes to turn into a defensive player of the year candidate. Like, not in just the sample we've seen so far this year. It would have to become every moment of every game, because Domantas Sabonis is really rough on that end, other than the defensive rebounding, which is elite. Everything else, it's a real problem, and he would really struggle to play in our switch and rotate system, so we would have to make major alterations there. Let me also lump in the Nick Richards thing, because that's a rumor. For anybody saying that, like, Mamu is too small and not physical enough to play center, I don't know if you've watched Nick Richards. It's undersized. It is not physically aggressive. He is passive. He struggles against true bigs. I don't love it. I don't love any of these ideas. I don't love giving up assets for any of these ideas unless the price was painfully below market.